Hello Rebels and welcome back to my life. So I've made a few videos recently about completely unrelated topics that it turns out kind of are related, and today is another one of those. Today we're going to start off talking about video games, or one video game in particular, although this applies to a lot of different video games. I am a big fan of Blizzard's game Heroes of the Storm. I don't get to play it as much these days as I would like, but it's still a very fun game that I enjoy a lot. As the name sort of implies, Heroes of the Storm features a bunch of heroes from Blizzard's other games all thrown into one world where they endlessly battle each other to the death. New heroes come out all the time. Some are better than others, but almost all new heroes are very, very overpowered when they first release. And that's what I want to talk about today. Blizzard has a history of releasing overpowered characters who dominate the game for a little bit and then are inevitably nerfed into the ground. This has happened over and over and over again, from some of the very first heroes that they released to heroes that they're releasing these days. Why is this? Well, one possible reason is that it's hard to know if a character is over or underpowered before you actually release them. Like, you can do testing, but until players are actually playing with the hero in a bunch of different games, you don't really have a lot of data about how it's going to affect the overall game. But if this were the only factor, then about half of the heroes who were being released would be overpowered and the other half would be underpowered. And that's just not the case. Yes, sometimes Blizzard releases an underpowered character, but the majority of characters, when they first come out, are very overpowered. You just see them everywhere, being used by everyone. And then they're inevitably nerfed, right around the time that the next hero is going to be released. So is it possible that Blizzard is releasing intentionally slightly overpowered characters in order to sell more of them, only to reduce their power level right as the next hero is about to come out? I mean, yes! The answer is yes. That is absolutely a thing that could happen, and is probably happening. That's probably what's going on here. Is this okay? Well, here's the thing, right? Blizzard can't keep developing the game and releasing new content without an income source. And since there is no subscription fee for Heroes of the Storm, and the game is free to download and play, they make money by releasing and selling new heroes and content. Besides that, they have provided a way by which you can earn and purchase new heroes without paying any money. By playing enough games, you can earn an in-game currency, which can also be used to purchase new heroes. And let's not forget, the video game industry is, like many artistic industries, pretty much the peak of privilege. It's about as far as you can get from a vital necessity to your life. So if people feel like they're being cheated by this system, they can easily put their money elsewhere, in some other game that they think treats them more fairly as a consumer. But on that note, here's where this topic takes a turn for the slightly more serious. Because Heroes of the Storm and other video games and the video game industry and artistic industries in general are not the only people who use this business model. And one other industry where it has spiraled out of control is American healthcare. That might seem like a little bit of a stretch to you, or you might already know what I'm talking about if you saw John Oliver's excellent segment on marketing to doctors. I will link that in the description so that you can watch it. Please go do so. It's excellent. American pharmaceutical companies have been doing this for decades. They create and patent a new drug, brush away its side effects in their marketing, and then provide incentives to doctors who prescribe that drug, whether or not they're prescribing it for the problem that the drug is meant to treat. Then, when their patent on the drug is close to running out, or somebody else develops a viable alternative, that's when they become a little bit more honest about the side effects, and then, coincidentally, release and patent a new drug whose side effects are negligible. Like, they're basically not there. There's no side effects at all. Why do this? Well, just like Heroes of the Storm, these companies are trying to maximize profits, and you can't maximize your profits if anybody else can sell what you're selling, if anybody else can provide the product that you're trying to provide. Then it becomes a race on price down to the bottom, which is great for the people who need these vital medicines, and really, really bad for the consumers who have to pay for them. Again, if you're practicing this model in the video game industry, the harm to society is very meh. But practicing it in healthcare is one of the reasons why American healthcare costs are so astronomically high, so much so that even if we could pass single-payer healthcare through Congress, the government couldn't afford it at current prices. Of course, if we did have single-payer healthcare, prices would go down like they always do in countries that do this because the government is negotiating the prices. But I'm not going to talk about that because this is not a political video. I'm not making a political video. I am not making a political video. But in some cases, a lot of cases actually, it is literally the difference between life and death for the people who are suffering the conditions that the medicine treats. And so they can't just elect to take their business elsewhere, to go somewhere else to find a solution for the problem, or just elect not to solve the problem at all. Because if they don't solve the problem, they die. We're not just talking about Viagra here. Sometimes we're talking about products that can actually save people from dying from HIV or cancer. If you want to practice a somewhat questionable business model around video games, I mean, okay, like, consumers can take their money elsewhere. They can call you out on your BS, and they can just elect not to participate in your business model. But in the healthcare industry, customers don't have the option of not availing themselves of the service, because then they die, and most people don't want that. I don't pretend to know what the solution to all of this is, but I do know that the healthcare industry right now is primarily focused on making money and not on helping people. And maybe if those positions were reversed, we would start taking the right steps going forward. I don't know. It's just me. And that's it for today, Rebels. A special shout out to my supporters on Patreon who make the YouTube channel possible. If you want to be one of those excellent people or get signed copies of my books, there are links in the description to both of those things. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!